Have you ever been accused of something that you didn't do? Usually what it does is it stirs up a defense in us, and the most common and easy one is to just plead with emotion. I swear I didn't do it. Or maybe it's trying to find a witness. Like, ask so-and-so, they were with me. They'll tell you, I have proof. Sometimes it even turns to us turning the tables on our accusers and saying, yeah, well, at least I never did, you know. Standing up to false accusation is difficult, especially when the accuser is actually the guilty one, which makes Jesus' trial so fascinating and interesting. He's been arrested, arguably illegally, in the middle of the night, at least under shady circumstances, and he's being brought to stand trial not one, not two, not even three, but 6 times. He's on trial 3 times by the Jewish people and 3 times by the Romans, easily answering the silly question that I've often heard, so who killed Jesus, the Jews or the Gentiles? The answer is easy. It's yes, both. The answer is you and me. Every human that's ever sinned, which is every human that's ever lived, is guilty of killing Jesus. And in Jesus' fashion, he didn't handle these trials in the way that we would. He mostly stood silent and let sinful people do what they were always going to do. Matthew 26 through 27, we see this. The chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false evidence against Jesus so that they could put him to death. But they did not find any, though many false witnesses came forward. Meanwhile, Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "You have said so," Jesus replied. Now it was the governor's custom at the festival to release a prisoner chosen by the crowd. At that time, they had a well-known prisoner whose name was Jesus Barabbas. So when the crowd had gathered, Pilate asked them, "Which one do you want me to release to you, Jesus Barabbas, or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" For he knew it was out of self-interest that they had handed Jesus over to him. "Which of the 2 do you want me to release to you?" asked the governor. "Barabbas," they answered. "What shall I do then with Jesus who is called the Messiah?" Pilate asked. They all answered, "Crucify him." "Why? What crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. But they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him!" When Pilate saw that he was getting nowhere, but that instead an uproar was starting, he took water and washed his hands in front of the crowd. "I am innocent of this man's blood," he said. "It is your responsibility." Then he released Barabbas to them, but he had had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. It's easy for me to think that I would have been in the front row screaming, "Release him, release him." But given that his closest devotees and people who were likely laying down palm branches just a week prior were either silent or contributing to the screams of "Crucify him," I think I am far better served not to consider how righteous I might have been in the moment, but instead reflect on how my sin contributed to the chaotic death of Jesus, who stood peacefully before his accusers.